And the next on our list is a company which has renamed itself, so it's not familiar to you. That's because it is relatively new under this moniker. Its name is Cognition Holdings. Previously, Foneworx was the listing. The CEO, Mark Smith, is the guy who you need to know about. He's an entrepreneur, came out of the MassSmart group. Interesting, though, what the company really does is provide interactive, well, mostly anyway, interactive telecommunication, switching, and business services. So think of like fax to email, which they made a lot of money out of, where people wanted to get a fax service converted to an email, and then all of those systems that they use for voting on those television shows, like, you know, SMS, if you want Toomey to win The Voice, or if you want some guy to win Idols, etc., etc. All of that back end. And also customer activations. So if you're out and you see something on the back of a Coke can and you've got to send an SMS and all that sort of stuff, this is the company that provides the back end for those products. Market capitalization quite small though, 187.1 million. I almost said billion there for a moment. Price to earnings ratio 7.3. Dividend yield of 8.82. I think that must just have been on the basis of a dividend that was paid in the not too distant past, which has pushed up the yield, but it's not necessarily a guaranteed.
Yeah. So yes, this business is trying to undergo quite a radical overhaul from a provider of telecommunications soft services to least cost routing and the fax to email to more media company, a new age media company. And trying to rotate out of that business. The fax business is coming off much faster than they expected. I think they're quite surprised.
Because that thing made a lot of money.
Yeah. It was a bit of a cash cow.
Yeah.
They used to get a big portion of the revenue generated out of the cost of the fax through the telephone system.
Oh.
That's really, I believe, how they made a lot of their money. But now, faxes are really becoming almost defunct with email.
You know, there's that joke going around where somebody says, I can't receive faxes because of where I'm located. And then the person says, well, where are you located? Then your answer is, I'm in the 21st century.
Okay, yeah, which is, I think, unfortunately, a bit of a case for this company, is that it's an old economy company.
Yeah.
And fax is considered old economy.
But not old economy is all this kind of voting stuff and all that, because customer activations and brand activations and these promotions are a very important part of the sort of media industry. A lot of the promotions that brands want to do, whether it's like Castle Light or some, you know, flying fish, people like SAB Miller want to do these sorts of things because what they found is that's a very good way to get the product out.
Yes, that is right. I suppose it's how that service is provided is most probably the part that's uncertain, because you have services like WhatsApp that may actually result in SMSs becoming redundant. So they would need to make sure they can capitalize
so currently
on that.
The margins are good.
Yeah.
The share price here has gone down quite sharply, which is regrettable. I mean, they've done a lot of internal reorganization. We don't have the share chart apparently because of the name change, the code changed, and it's kind of fallen through the cracks. But what I can tell you is it sort of bounced around in 2013, 2014, picked up quite nicely, but it's had quite a nasty sag in 2015 and 2016.
Yeah, it's sort of down 50% from its high, so it has had quite a dramatic reduction. Their latest set of results, they were pretty downbeat. They also had to restate their earnings. They didn't quite account for their acquisition of, I think it's BMI, the research.
Oh yes, let's talk about that. So BMI Research and BMI Sport.
Yeah.
That is not to be confused with another company called BMI Tech, which apparently is totally different. But BMI Sport seems to be involved with helping sell the branding rights to like sports teams like Super 15. You know, they kind of negotiate on behalf of the union with potential suppliers, including even the Proteas and so on. I mean, that seems to be a business they're putting a lot of emphasis on.
So they're trying to find these businesses that really allow them to participate in media in different ways.
Yes, as you say.
Also 32% owned by Caxton, so a very strong parent company.
You mean the whole of Cognition is 32% held by Caxton? Correct, because they bought the Kirsch family stake, if I'm not mistaken.
That's exactly right, so they've got a backer. They're obviously also interested in the media space. I think they would want them to grow into the space. It's whether the big question mark is whether they can successfully change the business model into these new areas and find
sort of
good
survive
areas.
the transition and make the kind of profits that people are hoping to see. In a time where we know that sponsorships and promotions and all that sort of stuff is being curtailed because of the business environment being a bit iffy.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so how do you want to call it?
This one, I think the question mark is still out on it, so I would be cautious on this one. So I tend to go not hot on this one.
I think that's correct, because certainly, like with Micro Mega, if the share price has fallen to that extent, normally that is, a precursor to earnings-related disappointment, whereas one wants to see the opposite trend when you're shopping in the lower end of the market. So not
Yes.
hot on that one.